Hi everyone, my name is Allie Lutz, and today I'm going to be discussing my project on Demi Lovato having her diagnosis of bipolar 2 disorder. So I wanted to give a little background on what exactly bipolar disorder is as a whole, and then also discuss more about bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 separately. So according to the DSM-5, bipolar disorders are grouped as disorders that cause extreme fluctuation in a person's mood, energy, and ability to function. Bipolar disorders are mood disorders, and there are two main types of bipolar disorders that we have learned in class and that I wanted to discuss more into, which are bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. So, with bipolar 1, a person will experience manic episodes and they may or may not experience depressive episodes. However, with bipolar 2, a person will experience major depressive episodes as well as hypomanic episodes. So let's get into who Demi Lovato is as a person and a little bit of background as to why she is famous. So Demi Lovato is probably most well known for her acting and her singing careers. She was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico in August of 1992, and her TV career began at the age of 10. She was a child actress on the hit show Barney's and Friends. And then from Barney and Friends, she was on a couple Disney shows and Disney movies, such as Send Me With a Chance, Camp Rock 1 and 2, as well as the Princess Protection Program. I think this is kind of when I became a fan of Demi Lovato, with her being casted as the role in Camp Rock 1 and 2, and that's when I kind of became interested in her, as well as expanded my interest into her musical career. So at the same time as she was on TV, she launched her first songs in 2008, and these songs were songs like Skyscraper and Get Back. And since then, and since she was about 10 years old, she has always been in the public eye. She is always in the news. You see articles about her, you see stories about her. She never has really had any privacy in her life, which I think is something to keep in consideration. She was also the judge on X Factor, and she has been a star in a few episodes of Glee. So she really has reached a lot of different audiences of all different ages, and whether that was with her acting career or her singing career. So let's get into a little bit of Lovato's story. So Demi Lovato has had a history of cutting herself, of suicidal thoughts, and this was before her bipolar 2 diagnosis. She also says that she suffered from bulimia since the age of 9. And I'll get into that a little bit later. So with her diagnosis of bipolar 2, she was actually on tour with the Jonas Brothers in 2010, and she ended up having to leave the tour early because she had an episode of violence that was a little bit out of character for her, and it kind of sparked people to think that she may need to actually get help. So this violence was she actually punched one of her backup dancers with really no warning or no reasoning for it. And then once she had this episode, she went on a stretch of about 2 months of drug use daily and just kind of crazy erotic behavior that you wouldn't usually see in someone who is not suffering from an episode. So her family decided, she also decided that she wanted to go and get help. So she went to Timberline Knolls in Illinois in 2010, where she was treated for her emotional and physical issues. And these emotional and physical issues were soon diagnosed as bipolar 2. So, with bipolar 2, Demi Lovato has also had issues with eating disorders and drug use. Something that we learned about in class, and I think that is important to recognize, is that bipolar disorders are often comorbid with eating disorders. And I've done some research, and I've noticed that bipolar disorders the eating disorder that is most comorbid with bipolar disorders is bulimia, and that's actually what Demi Lovato suffered with. She's come to terms with her bulimia, and she's also had some history with this. Something interesting with Demi Lovato is that her mother actually suffered from bulimia since she was a very young girl. Lovato says that when she would see her mom binge, and her mom was about 80 pounds and was not eating very well and having very poor eating habits, it kind of morphed her into having the same eating habits. She said it's kind of hard when you're around someone who has issues with food to not develop these similar issues. So she actually says she has suffered from bulimia from the age of 9 till about she was 18. So she's had a lot of ups and downs in her life with drug use and bulimia and her suicidal thoughts and her bipolar 2 diagnosis. However, she has gotten help to recover. She did release a song in 2018 called Sober, which discussed her relapse. And Demi Lovato kind of prides herself on recognizing that mental health is not just a one and done situation. It's going to be something that you have to battle with. And I think that she is a great spokesperson for that aspect of mental health. So I wanted to get into a little more discussion of what bipolar 2 disorder is and what are some of the characteristics and symptoms of bipolar 2 disorder. So, as I've discussed before, bipolar 2 disorder is a mood disorder, and according to the DSM-5, bipolar 2 symptoms include hypomanic episodes as well as depressive episodes. And within these hypomanic episodes, you can see 3 or more of these following symptoms. So, you're going to see inflated self-esteem, decreased need for sleep, more talkative than usual, or feeling the need to keep talking, a flight of ideas that are racing through your head, distractibility, easily distracted, not really focused on one's fixed idea, an increase in goal-directed activity, an excessive involvement in activities with strong consequences. You're also going to see a disturbance in mood, and these disturbances aren't just like surface level. They disrupt your functioning, and they can be seen by others. And these symptoms of depression are also very unpredictable, and they cause frequent alterations of highs and lows. I wanted to specifically point out the symptoms of inflated self-esteem, decreased need for sleep, a flight of ideas that are racing, and an increase in goal-directed activity. Demi Lovato has been quoted as saying that she would stay up for days and nights on end, and in a single night she would write about 7 songs. And what is interesting is she never really thought that this was abnormal. She thought that she was just very passionate and obsessive over her work, and she thought that that was a fine thing to be. However, when she realized that this was actually representing a manic period, people who experience mental disorders aren't always aware of them. A lot of the times they are very clueless to them. They don't realize. And Lovato kind of said she thought the same thing. She said that there's someone really always sicker than she is. So how could she actually be as sick as everyone's saying she is? So going more into how does Demi Lovato deal with this? At first, Demi Lovato said she had a really hard time with her diagnosis and accepting her diagnosis. She didn't really see anything alarming in her daily activities. And but once she did recognize her bipolar 2 disorder, she kind of took time for herself and made sure that she was going to be on a right path and be safe for her. So Demi Lovato has actually become quite the spokesperson for mental health and bipolar 2 disorder specifically. She wants people to realize that she is human as well as everybody else who has a mental disorder is also human. You're going to have highs and you're going to have lows, and you're not perfect, and it's not wrong that you have this mental disorder. So not only does she discuss her illness on social platforms and social media platforms, she has also been a guest speaker at the National Alliance on Mental Illness Convention in 2014. And then also she actually released her own documentary called Simply Complicated, which kind of breaks down more into her TV and music career, but also breaks down into her battles with bipolar disorder and bulimia and her drug addiction. So I just wanted to show you a quick clip from the documentary trailer. I really suggest watching it. It was a great documentary, and this just gives a little insight as to what Demi Lovato has been going through.
I actually had anxiety around this interview. I don't know what everyone's going to think. One thing I'll never stop doing is being honest. And that's the best I can do. Oh no, here we go again. Fighting over what I said.
She was 5 years old. I started to realize that Demi was gifted, not human, when it came to her voice.
Everything happened so fast.
All of a sudden, she had to be this role model, and I don't think she was ready for that.
I was not easy to work with.
And then this episode happened. Demi walks up onto the plane, and I turned around, and Demi had punched her backup dancer in the face.
I went on like a bender of like 2 months where I was using daily.
Demi was on a road to like suicide.
Change has to happen now.
So that just gives you a little insight on to Demi's story and how she expresses herself. She is the main person in the documentary. She has people talk kind of as a eyewitness, but she is really the main person. She wants to talk about it, even though it kind of scared her in the beginning. I think that talking about this is really good for her own mental state. I think that talking it out kind of brings it to life. And I also think it makes it real. It makes it inspiring. She's inspiring to so many other people, so many young girls and boys, and everyone in between who may be having a rough day or maybe suffering from mental illness. I think that she's a great role model. So, what I have learned. So, something I think that I've learned is that it's okay to talk about your own mental disorder, and it's great to spread awareness. I think there's such a stigma around mental health and the idea that you need to be perfectly normal, but I also think really what is normal. Demi Lovato has proven to be a warrior. She discusses how you're not just gonna get a mental disorder, get rid of it in one treatment and never be affected by it again. It's going to be kind of a winding road to recovery, but recovery is possible. Demi Lovato also has been in the eye of media and close watch of the paparazzi, which must not have been easy or helped her in any way. I can't imagine my entire life being broadcasted for everyone to see, and every time I messed up, for someone to share it to the entire world. So if I had bipolar 2 disorder, I do not think I would be as open and honest with myself and with the people around me as Demi Lovato. But I also think you can't really say how you would react if you suffer from mental illness until you're actually going through it. But I think that Demi Lovato is a great role model. I think that she has taken her battles and turned them around as inspiring and to help others, even if she's still trying to help herself as well. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the project.